right into it. So I will say this. I was wrong. I was wrong. You all know that I have been dreading this virtual reunion. I thought it was going to be a mess. I thought it was going to be like the Zoom meetings that I have been on. It was none of that. This was a really great reunion for these ladies. Dare I say, one of their best. One of their best. I thoroughly enjoyed myself watching this. So good on you, the Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is why these ladies are the #1 show on this network, even on the seasons when they don't bring it. Like, they always set the standard for what these shows on Bravo should be. They are the first reality TV show that has done a virtual reunion, and they killed it. They killed it. Nothing was missed. Everything was so good. And I'm a little frightened because I'm just like, is this going to be the new normal? Because we were able to hear them clearly. We were able to, because Andy was muting people, so we would not have the talking over each other. Really good job, ladies. Andy, you better be paying these girls. Beverly Hills, New York, none of them should be making what Atlanta is bringing home, because these ladies brought it. Really, really proud of them. Bravo. This was a messy virtual reunion, and we thank you for it because we needed something to talk about. Let's get into the fashions. They all look great. Everybody looked amazing. They always bring it. Every season, they always bring it. They looked amazing. I was really shocked that Kandi did her own hair and makeup. A lot of people didn't like it. I thought that she looked great. Although the only thing that I could say that looked like it wasn't done by a professional was the eyelashes, but those are really hard to put on. So I'm not judging her. She looked great. For someone to have done her own hair and makeup, especially when you're not used to doing it, slayed. Mama slayed. She looked great. The one for me who looked the best this reunion, it was a tie for me. No, it wasn't a tie because I saw her dress up close. Porsha. Porsha looked the best. I was going to tie her with Kenya, but I think Kenya looked the best in makeup. I loved her makeup. She looked very angelic. She didn't look like too beat, you know what I mean? She just looked perfect. I loved her makeup, but I saw her dress up close, and it read very cheap to me for what we expect, especially from the reunions. So I will say Porsha overall had the best look, but Kenya was right up there. Her hair and makeup, flawless, but great job, Kandi. They all look great. Nene. Nene was giving me a Dutch milkmaid on her way to Costco to go pick up some soy milk. She just looked like she was running errands in like colonial Sweden. I didn't understand the look. I did not understand the look. Everybody looked so great and put together. She just looked so haggard. I'm like, and you didn't even do your own hair and makeup or get your own outfit. Like, somebody did that to you. You paid somebody. You risked your respiratory system to get this look done. And you did not even look better than the women who are friends of the show. Ma'am, if you're supposed to be the queen of this, franchise, you got to look the part. And she just didn't. She didn't look the part, and she didn't act the part. Very disappointed, Nene, because if you are the queen, you got to act like a mama, and you didn't. You didn't look like it, and you didn't act like it. Let's talk about Kandi, because we had this whole, replay. We did it for everybody on the cast, but this whole replay of this season that just passed, and how, she basically took over for Sheree. She was the bone carrier this season, and Kandi was just like, well, I don't think that I'm the bone carrier, but, I'm like friends with everybody, so, I was neutral, so that's what I was saying. I just felt like I couldn't win, because if I said something, if one of them said something, and I ain't tell that person, then, I would be considered a bad friend. So, she was basically saying that she wasn't the bone carrier this season, but she was. Listen, I'm not mad at her. You know what I mean? One thing that you have to know about Kandi is that she's always producing. Kandi is always producing storylines. That's what she was doing. She was giving you a show, which is why I think that her and Todd are in a good place. I think they're talking about issues that they have had and have conquered, and they're replaying it on the show for us. But I think that these two are in a really good place. Just thinking about the season, I'm just like, this woman is so calculated, and not a sinister way, but I see her producing storylines, and I'm like, Nah, Candy, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. She was producing storylines. She was giving us a show. She was creating conflict so that we could have some kind of drama to watch. That's exactly what she was doing. I don't fault her for it, but, you know, call it a bone carrier or whatever, but she was producing storylines. It's the same thing that Sheree was doing on her season, but she wasn't producing storylines. She was being the bone carrier because she didn't have anything going on, right? Candy had stuff going on, you know what I mean? She was creating a storyline with having issues in her marriage and, you know, issues with her husband and her mom and, you know, then being a working mom and having issues with the baby. I don't think she produced that one. I think Ace wanting his mom to be home, I think that evolved throughout the season, but I think she had already had her planned storylines. And then, you know, baby Ace, you know, the cameras are catching him crying and wanting her to stay. That had to become something too. So I think that was the only real thing that happened in her life on this season that she didn't produce, was baby Ace wanting his mama home. But that's what she was doing this season, guys. She was producing storylines. Call it bone carrier, call it being messy, whatever it was, Candy was producing. Listen, I know a lot of people do not like NeNe for good reason. She's given you multiple reasons to not, you know, go up for her, right? But I have to say, this show needs her. I'm telling you guys, I was cracking up at her this entire episode. She's just really funny. You need her because she is a Southern woman. She is a Southern, shady, funny, older woman. That's what you need. You need somebody on the show that will read. You need somebody that will bring the drama. You need somebody that will bring social media interaction to this show. There is not a housewife in any of these, you know, franchises of, you know, the Real Housewives. None of them have more means or gifts than NeNe. Like, she is just somebody who is just naturally funny, even when she's not trying to be, because every time somebody was talking, really? Huh? I said that? Okay. Like, she's just funny. She is just a funny person, even when she's not trying to be funny. I think she's needed. I know people want her replaced, but I don't think that there is a character that could fill her shoes. I really don't. I mean, you kicked Phaedra off, so NeNe is all we have left. I felt like Phaedra could have fit that position if NeNe were to go, but because she's not there, you gotta have NeNe. You can't kick her off and then everything is left to Porsha, Candy, Cynthia. Like, it's already getting dry for me. You know what I mean? You need NeNe to kick up something. You need NeNe to say something funny. The only issue with NeNe, why she did not have a good season this season, is because Kenya gets under her skin and takes her out of, you know, the role that she plays. Kenya intimidates her because Kenya is not intimidated by her. When Kenya first came on, NeNe was able to handle her because Kenya was intimidated by NeNe. Kenya was trying to get close to NeNe because, you know, she's a top dog, right? So you want to be in friendship with someone who has the air of Andy Cohen, right? However, when NeNe rejected her, the same time she rejected Cynthia, Kenya realized that she no longer needed NeNe to remain on the show or remain relevant. She had Cynthia. So now they could come in with this alliance against NeNe, so she no longer needed her. And I'm not saying that, you know, they were conspiring to take her down, but can you realize when she became friends with Cynthia that that was another way for her to come on the season? She didn't need to be, you know, NeNe's lapdog. If NeNe didn't like her, fine. She could be, you know, a friend of the show and be Cynthia's friend, you know, and come in with some drama like that. There was another way in, and she didn't have to be NeNe's friend or be up NeNe's behind. That's when her and NeNe started having problems, because as soon as Kenya came in and was friends with Cynthia, she was no longer all up under NeNe. She was now coming for NeNe, and NeNe felt it. But we just have to be real. When Kenya first got on the show, she was trying to befriend NeNe. She was doing the most. You know, it was a little cringy sometimes watching how hard she tried to be her friend, but NeNe rejected her. She was mean and nasty to her. And, you know, that's where the beef and drama started. And they have never been able to get over that. They have never been able to, you know, come to an agreement. They have never been able to mend fences. I don't think they will ever be able to do that. And it's unfortunate because it's not fun to watch, right? I don't like them going after each other because it's very obvious that they do not like each other. So when they go after each other, it's just really dark. It's not fun and shady. They're like talking about each other's kids and marriages, and they're just going low. And it's just like, you can shade and read and not be so, awful. It's just not fun watching them. That's all I'm saying. Like, it was, fun watching Porsha get Eva together, but it's not fun with Nene and Kenya going after each other, because it just makes everybody in the room uncomfortable. So when I'm watching everybody in the room become uncomfortable, I'm the audience. Now I become uncomfortable. They ruined Grease. Grease could have been fun. You know what I mean? They could have just played cordial, but they ruined it because they just don't like each other. So I just don't know how these two are going to exist on a season. It seems like after this reunion, they're both definitely coming back, but I just don't know. I don't know what kind of season it's going to be. This is how I knew that this reunion was going to get very messy, because we started off with Mark. Andy went right into the Kenya and Mark drama. We played, their whole season together, and then Andy started asking all these questions about Mark. I will say this, he clocked Kenya's lies, because listen, I'm not saying that Kenya and Mark are not having issues. I think she's embellishing and not telling the truth about certain situations. Because when Kenya told Andy that her and Mark are going to therapy, he was just like, in the pandemic, are you doing virtual therapy? And she was like, yes, I'm doing virtual therapy, just like I'm doing a virtual reunion. I'm like, why you get mad? Why you get mad? Because he caught you in a lie. That's why you got upset. So there are just some things about this relationship that I just don't think are true. I think that just like Candy, just like Nene, Kenya is very calculated. All these ladies are very calculated. So there's always been something about this story that just never rang true to me. You know what I mean? I don't think that somebody like Kenya would allow herself to be humiliated on TV unless it was for a check. You know what I mean? Unless there was a purpose, because she got kicked off because she didn't show him. So now she's showing him that he's being terrible to her. So now they're separated and working on their relationship. So she can come back next season talking about how they're working on their relationship, and have Mark, who never wanted to be on the show, who hated being on the show, not film with her and come in, maybe on FaceTime or something like that. And that will be all that we see of him, right? So I feel like she's having her cake and eating it too. Like, she's keeping this relationship by falsifying this, the issues that they are having. And I'm not saying that they don't have any. I just think that this whole meltdown of their relationship was an easy way for Mark to not have to film the show, because Kenya cannot come on the show if she is not filming with Mark, because that's a part of her life. Like, she can't be married to him and we not see him. So I don't know. I think she loves that man, and I think she would do anything to preserve that relationship, even if it means that she has to humiliate herself on TV. That's what I think. What do y'all think? Let's talk about it. So it's very obvious now at this point that Eva, Candy, and Kenya and Cynthia are now linking up against Nene. So this is what it's probably going to be like next season. I don't know who would else, be on Team Nene aside from Porsha. I don't know how they're going to shake it up, but it's very obvious that during the downtime, like after, the season finale, these ladies got together and was just like, we're going to come for her at this reunion. So this is what Nene was talking about. It's very obvious. Like you don't have to be a fan of Nene to see that they are all coming after her, because Candy, who was Miss Neutral, would not even let Kenya talk. Kenya had Eva and Candy fighting her battle for her. Let me tell you something. Out of all these housewives, Kenya is the last person who needs somebody to fight her battle. But it was just very obvious that they've been in conversation, and Nene was the topic of discussion. Because these ladies came in guns blazing, and it was only for Nene. Eva is really active this reunion. Like, really, really active. And I'm thinking that she probably, has read all the comments from the fans about her. And I think because this is the decider, the network will sit down, go over the whole season with production, and then they will watch the reunion. And then it will be discussed who's coming back. So the reunion is the deciding factor. So that's why a lot of ladies come and they show up and they show out. However, it's such a drastic change for Eva because no shade, she was pregnant. She didn't really show up and show out the entire season. So to have her show up and show out at the reunion was just so odd, right? It just didn't make sense, especially when she had like this newfound beef with NeNe when we didn't see any of it on the season. So everybody is just looking at her like, what is happening here? You and NeNe were fine during the season. Now you can't stand this old woman. You can't believe this grandmother is acting like this. And just all of the shade and the reads were just not landing. This first part of the reunion was not a good look for you, Eva, because it made you look desperate. It made you look like you were fighting to get a peach by going after somebody who already has like, two staple members of the show going after her. You just look like you were jumping onto something, like going after low-hanging fruit just to secure your spot next season. It didn't go well for you. You looked, sad to say, you looked really desperate, and then Porsha just made you look like a fool. Lord, Porsha came ready. I think she saw where this was going when Kenya and, Candy and then Eva started jumping in. Porsha was like, listen, I can't go after Candy because we got history, but Kenya and Eva, let's go. Specifically Eva, I'm going to start with you first. I'm going to shoot you dead. Then I'm going after Kenya. Let me tell you something, Porsha. I was shocked watching her. My jaw was on the floor. Your titties is social distancing. She just came for Eva, and Eva couldn't I just felt bad because I'm like, Porsha, let the girl recover before you come for her again. But Eva, you was doing a lot of talking and you just didn't have anything to back it up. Eva, this was not a good, first part of the reunion for you. Poor thing. I felt bad. I really, really did. After she said that her titties were social distancing, I was just like, oh, you're done. You're done, because I knew that was going to be all over social media because she's just so quick with it. She's so quick with it. Who, Porsha? She owned this reunion. Part 1 goes to Porsha. Listen, Kenya, she got the crown, and in her words, it ain't dusty. Porsha was ready. This is what NeNe needs to do next season, because just watching her in this reunion, watching her in this season, Kenya gets under her skin so bad, it's hard to watch because she's flailing and just cursing and going out and then, putting down her laptop and just, coming back and just screaming and getting out of herself while Kenya is sitting there, not even breaking a sweat and just smiling and waiting for her to come down and then shooting another dagger at her flawless. The chick didn't break a sweat, and NeNe was falling all over the place. But you the queen of Atlanta. You the queen of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. You the OG of this. You started this. This is your show. But you got somebody who didn't even start with you. Have you shaking in your Charlotte Russe boots. Girl, bye. Girl, bye. Not me. Not me. If you are the queen, if this is your show, act like it. This woman just, Kenya does something to her. She was out of her mind. Just she started off real cool, calm, and collected. But every time Kenya got a little dagger in, she would lose it and just start screaming. And I'm like, why don't you have anything ready? Why don't you have any reads? We all know that you hire, sassy gay men to give you reads. Why didn't you have anything ready? Why does this woman have you like this on your show? Your words, not mine. Let's talk about NeNe and Wendy Williams. Candy was right. Candy was absolutely right. But where I think she went wrong was when she said that this relationship is a relationship of convenience for NeNe. Not just NeNe, Wendy Williams as well. Because if you watch her show, I'm the only one in my family that does. Everybody else boycotts her. But if you watch her show, she spends a lot of her hot topics talking about NeNe and their adventures, talking about Housewives. NeNe is a way for her to have an in with this show. Yes, she has an in with Andy, right? But Andy is network. He not gutter. NeNe is gutter. So she'll give her all of, the low-hanging fruit, the gutter tea. Andy won't give her that. Andy will give her network tea. Give her the overall of what's going on, and then send some clips of the show, and then send a payment so that she can play the show, talk about the show, and have her audience get hype about it. But NeNe will give her gutter tea. And with that, NeNe gets to be friends with somebody who is very popular on TV and in the blog world. In a sense, this friendship legitimizes her, which is really sad because she legitimized herself, but NeNe became so difficult to work with. She blacklisted herself in Hollywood. She was on Broadway. She had a network TV show. She was doing some things, but when you come in as a reality TV star and try to pump your chest like you're a Morgan Freeman, Hollywood don't take too kindly to that. So she basically blacklisted herself, and a lot of, A-listers did not want to work with her because she was so difficult to work with. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be an Andrew Caldwell acting like a Mariah Carey. Like, you just can't. You don't have that resume to do that. It's really unfortunate because she did have a legitimate acting career. It was on her way, but she ruined it with her attitude. So with somebody like Wendy Williams, she legitimizes her in that area where she used to, work and be considered one of the people. Not yet an A-lister, but she was on her way. So I think for the both of them, they get something out of it. Wendy gets gutter tea for the show, and NeNe gets legitimized by Wendy. So I think that, when Kandi was saying that, she was absolutely right with everything that she was saying about NeNe. But I think that she was also very careful in choosing her words because she didn't say anything about Wendy. You know what I mean? She made sure to keep that woman's name out of her mouth because although Kandi is legitimate, so is Wendy, right? So Kandi doesn't want to mess up that relationship with her. And she also nobody wants to be on Wendy Williams' bad side. She's messy. She's big messy, and she's been big messy for longer than some of us have been alive. So you don't want to mess with that. So she made sure to keep her comments just about NeNe. She was right about NeNe, but I think that she strategically left out, the comments about Wendy because Wendy is a powerhouse. Hate it or love it, the woman is who she is. So you don't want to tussle with that because she's big messy and she's legitimate. So I think Kandi chose her words wisely as well because she doesn't want to mess up that relationship. But what she did say about NeNe was right. That's why NeNe was sitting there quiet because she don't want to say nothing about Wendy either. She wants to repair that relationship. It's a relationship of convenience for the both of them, more so NeNe. Over this damn buffalo. Here it is, right? NeNe made that buffalo comment about Kenya. She was not talking about the baby. Everybody has come to this conclusion but Kenya. I think Kenya was using that as a way to garner sympathy and, turn the tide against NeNe. NeNe was calling a pregnant woman fat. It was awful, but she was not talking about the baby. When she did talk about the baby, she was talking about the fact that, trying to make fun of Kenya's fertility issues and saying that she got a donor egg. I will say that people have been saying that. You know what I mean? Like, she ain't just get it from those streets. She got that from production. Moving along. So that comment, again, was not about the baby. It was making fun of Kenya's fertility issues. Like she was making fun of Kenya gaining weight from having a baby. She was awful. She was awful. The thing she said was awful, but it wasn't about her baby. And I think that Kenya was just using that to be like, oh my goodness, you said this about my child. So she shoots back and she says stuff about her kids, basically, in the shadiest way, calling her kids ugly. But that's why she gets under NeNe's skin, because she's flawless with it. She doesn't break a sweat, and she's clever. NeNe can't do that. She is, I think because she's tall, right? She's always been that person who could use her body, and her loud voice to intimidate people. But she finally met somebody that she cannot do that to. So NeNe has to come after Kenya with her wits. But she's so used to this that she can't focus on the fact that this is a different enemy. You got to come at her a different way. You got to find out where she's weak at and then go after her that way. You got to meet her on her level. And she could never do that because she's so stuck in being a brute and not being a shady queen like Kenya. And speaking of babies, let's get into, all of a sudden out of nowhere, Porsha is now mad at Eva for the comment that she said about her daughter. So let's be real here. Nene didn't make the comment about Kenya's daughter, right? She didn't make the comment about Brooklyn. The Buffalo comment was about Kenya. Dennis and Abo was about Porsha's daughter. I will say this though, it was just very shocking how angry Porsha was, because it was just like, oh, we didn't see this on the season. But I'm thinking that she watched that episode and got pissed off and brought it to the reunion. Although I think she was upset because, you know, Eva talked about her child. I think, this is tricky, right? Because Eva called that baby ugly. Can we just be real? Like, Eva, you said it. You said it. You need to be worried about little Dennis and Abo. You called the baby ugly, right? Because the baby, Porsha's child, looks just like Dennis. Porsha will probably come out later in her life, but right now, the baby looks a lot like Dennis. It has been said that that man is not attractive, right? Which is why a lot of people were shocked that somebody who, you know, Porsha is considered bad, you know what I mean? She's considered that girl. A lot of people were shocked that she was with somebody like him. Janet Jackson and Jermaine Dupri, you know what I mean? So instead it's just Porsha and Smedium, Jermaine Dupri. So a lot of people have said that he's not attractive. Eva knew that. You know, the whole cast probably has been talking about how she get with him, right? So saying that she's little Dennis and Abo, Eva knew what she was doing. But this is the thing with Eva. Eva says stuff, and I'm not saying that she doesn't remember. I think she just says stuff in the heat of the moment and probably regrets it. But because it's so bad, she just wants to act like she didn't remember saying it, because she was just like, I can't believe I said that on camera. So I'ma just play dumb. But you said it, right? And the way you said it, if you would have said, oh, she looked just like Dennis and Abo, it would have been different. But it was the way you said it. Like, you know that this man is not what a lot of people consider attractive. So to call her child that, you knew what you were doing, right? And how we know that Dennis is considered unattractive to some, not all, but I guess to the people who, you know, are in contact with him and on that show, how we know that, and how we know that it's been talked about that he is not attractive or considered attractive to some people. Porsha's reaction. You know what I mean? So that was the thing. I was like, Porsha, your reaction let us know that you probably feel that way about Dennis as well. Because if you would have been like, yeah, of course my baby looked like her father. That's her father. You know, and just moved on, it would have been fine. But it's like, you feel that he's unattractive because you got mad that this woman said that your daughter looked like him. This was a real cringy moment, because we go back to that moment where Eva said that about her daughter. And then you see Porsha's reaction, and it's just like, you're confirming this stuff about your man, about your baby father, because her reaction was just like, girl, why are you that mad? Why are you that mad that somebody said that your daughter looked like her father? We know why. But listen, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You know what I mean? But I just have to, we got to clock that for what it is. Eva knew what she was saying when she said that that baby looked like Dennis and Abo. And, you know, Porsha felt how she felt about him because she reacted that way to somebody saying that her child looked like her father. If the daddy was fine, she would have been fine. Like how Kenya was like, of course, my daughter looks like her father, because he is considered handsome to the majority. Dennis is not to the majority. Like, let's be real. We know what is considered handsome, and we know what is considered, you know, fugly. And he falls somewhere in that spectrum. Now, I'm not saying it. I'm just saying that, you know, his fiance confirmed it, and Eva just said it to the world. Yeah. Kenya, for your sake, I really hope that Porsha's receipts are bogus, because the receipts that you have for her were a mess. I was like, oh my goodness, Porsha did this? And then I was like, The Apprentice. And then people were like, 3 years ago, your receipts were trash, mama. I hope next week that Porsha's receipts, for your sake, are not good. Either way, I think that Cynthia will never not be Kenya's friend. Not because Kenya is such a great friend to her, but she has burned her bridge with NeNe, so she don't have nowhere to go. So she's going to have to make this relationship work with Kenya to get back on the show. But I'm interested to see what Porsha's receipts are, especially the ones she sent to Andy, because you see next week where Andy is just like, well, we saw the text, so something's gonna happen. Ooh, girl, this was a good reunion. We started off strong and messy, and this is not on brand for these reunions. These reunions get real dry until the 3rd episode. This reunion is probably gonna get even messier. I look forward to it. I am looking forward to part 2. So anyway, this reunion ends with the ladies just screaming at each other. You know, Andy, he used the mute button as much as he could. I will say this about Andy. He enjoyed himself. He had a great time watching this reunion, just like all of us. Like, this was so good. These ladies did a superb job. I was so proud of all of them. Porsha, listen, your peach is certified off grip. We know that she is getting a peach and she's getting a raise. Like, she did what it needed to be done. She did the damn thing. Eva, you in danger, girl. You are in danger. I'm concerned. I'm concerned because you got bodied. They virtually jumped you and you have not recovered. You have not recovered. And I just wish you would have sat there and ate your food. Why did you get in this argument? Like, Kenya didn't need no defending from you. But I think she just needed to do something so that she could have some kind of relevance, so that she could have something to negotiate with when she talks to the network. At this point, I hope you come back with something else, because I don't even think that you are going to be able to get to the negotiating table with this performance. But we know for a fact that Porsha is definitely coming back. Poor Eva. She was just scrambling. The thing is, the girl ain't a reader. She doesn't know how to read. She can be shady, but she just doesn't know how to read, and she's not quick. She's just not a quick-witted person. And I just think in this arena, you have to be. On this show, you have to be quick-witted. You have to know how to read. You have to know how to shade. And she just can only do one. And you need to be able to do all 3. So, girl, you in danger. I'm concerned. I need you to bring it next episode. So yeah, the ladies did a good job. I will say this. I was really proud of Kenya when she beautifully expressed to Eva why her comments about the women having nappy heads was disrespectful and reeked of light skin privilege and colorism. And she just really explained it to her like a friend. She didn't tear her down, but she gave her facts. She also spoke to her with just a lot of grace and explained it to her beautifully, and Eva was able to receive it. And I was just like, this is the Kenya that I like. Like, I like to see that. But again, she's paid to be the villain on the show. So I think when she expressed that to her, that was a part of who she is. But that's the part of her that we don't get to see, because that is not the part of Kenya that gets the check on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. It is what it is. It's a TV show. They're giving us good TV. Great job, ladies. Great job. You are the first ones who have ever done this. You continue to be trendsetters. I'm impressed. I didn't want to do it, which is why it took me so long to do this review, because I was just like, I don't want to watch a Zoom reunion. I just don't. But you guys set the bar. Let me tell you something. Where would this network be if it wasn't for the Real Housewives of Atlanta? Like, these ladies carry this network on their back. They need to be getting paid the most. There should be no debate, no discussion about them making these coins. They should be making the most out of any show on that network. But I feel like it's Beverly Hills because Beverly Hills has more money. But these ladies, they need to be bringing home millions. Like, they did the damn thing. Really great job, ladies. Really great job. Who would this network have if it wasn't for the Real Housewives of Atlanta? Summer House? You think Summer House is going to sustain this network? Really? Pay them, ladies. They're worth every coin. That's all I wanted to talk about with this reunion. What did you think of this episode? What did you think of this reunion? Let's talk about it. Did you like the clothes? Did you dislike the clothes? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let's talk about it in the comments section below. And if you like what you see here, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you next week for the following episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Great job, ladies. Beyond proud. You brought it. You brought it. See you guys.